Jake Norris from Australia, and Sean Down from Ireland. Embarked on a 2,000-kilometer north-to-south journey on foot. An inspiring journey, once-in-a-lifetime experiences.
Now, for the ghouls out there, can we have a look at your foot?
Warmth, sharing, and smiles help them overcome difficulties. Determination, enthusiasm, and love help them reach the end of the challenging trek.
Walking approximately 2,000 kilometers from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City to raise funds for children in need, and at the same time promoted Vietnamese iconic landscapes to the world. This is the story of our two guests today, Sean Down from Ireland and Jake Norris from Australia. And we are very happy to welcome them to our Talk Vietnam today to share about their story. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to Talk Vietnam.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
How are you feeling?
Excited, nervous.
Yeah.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you finished your trip.
Yeah, we finished on Saturday, February the 24th in Ho Chi Minh City. It was pretty exciting to finish, but with that, we were pretty upset as well. We were in a big routine, walking every day, and it's a bit of a shock to just stop cold turkey and not be walking anymore.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it was very emotional. We feel good. We're proud of ourselves, but as Jake is saying, there's something missing now. We want to keep walking, but I mean, at some point, you have to stop.
Right. But it's the journey. It's not the destination that matter. But of course, the destination is also very important. I want to ask you about the journey. How did it start?
So it's been a long process. Sort of the idea came about in 2020 during COVID. I was stuck in Australia for 6 or 7 months. And while stuck there, I thought I want to do something to give back to the Vietnamese community, its people. And so the idea came about. I thought, why not walk 2,000 kilometres from Hanoi to Saigon? No one ever does it. It'd be pretty crazy, and we could raise a truckload of money for charity in Vietnam. And
but why did you want to join him?
You know what? Honestly, it's because Vietnam has given both of us, but I'll speak for myself, it's given me a wonderful life. The people, the experiences, the freedom that you have here, unless you've lived in other places. I've lived in many places. It's kind of hard to explain, but Vietnam has afforded me a wonderful life, and I just genuinely wanted to give something back to the country. Mm-hmm. Everybody can do something. Not everyone is in the position we were. Taking a year off, that's, extraordinary. We're extraordinarily lucky to be able to do it. But everyone can do a little something.
How did you pack for the trip? Because walking is you have to carry things on your shoulder.
Yeah, we were unsupported. So a lot of the times when people are doing a long distance hike like this, they'll be supported with a car or somebody on a motorbike. We weren't. It was just the two of us. We put everything in the bags. That's clothes, medication,
camera equipment,
food, if you need snacks, water, everything like that. But yeah, at the start we probably packed way too much stuff.
For us, it was you're walking 30 to 35 kilometres every day, carrying 10 kilos on your back. That's a hard gig, and so we're pretty proud of ourselves that we knocked it out of the park. And
so if you can give other people who want to do the same thing some advice, what would it be like in terms of packing?
In terms of packing?
Well, first thing I would say is do your training with the weight that you think you're going to be carrying, for starters. When I was researching it at the start, people who do through hikes, they'll do 1,000, 2,000 kilometres. Things like toothbrushes, what they'll often do is they'll cut the handle off the toothbrush to save,
weight.
grams of weight.
Jake Norris has been living in Hanoi for 7 years, and every year he visits an orphanage with his friends to bring gifts and play with the children. These visits let Jake in on the difficult lives of some children in Vietnam and prompted him to make a change. The result was an epic fundraising walk. Accompanying Jake was Sean Down from Ireland. Despite coming from different countries, the two share the idea of helping children in Vietnam. In December 2023, temporarily setting aside their English teaching jobs, the two men departed from the Hanoi Opera House. They walked along the Ho Chi Minh Trail for 2,000 kilometers to raise funds for the Blue Dragon Children's Foundation and the Thành Lộc Project.
Mình thấy là có nhiều người có thể chạy 42 cây, 70 cây hay 100 cây số nhưng mà nó chỉ trong thời gian rất là ngắn thôi. Nhưng mà cái quãng đường 2.000 cây số thực sự là nó đòi hỏi tinh thần, có cái khả năng chịu đựng về mặt thể lực, với sự bền bỉ kiên trì ấy. Jack đã có suy nghĩ này từ cách đây khoảng 3 năm trước rồi và trong 3 năm qua bạn ý vẫn luôn ấp ủ mình, luôn chúc bạn ý thành công và mình nghĩ rằng là cứ thử và cứ làm thôi. Đặc biệt đấy là hai người nước ngoài. Họ làm cái hoạt động này á để giúp cho đỡ cho người Việt Nam và đây là một cái tinh thần rất là đáng quý.
Their end-to-end hike was updated on multiple social media platforms to call for community support and donations. Their endeavors attracted many people's financial support and good wishes for the demanding journey ahead.
And I think the reason why they're doing it is really beautiful and wonderful. So it's 2,000 kilometers, it's a long way, but I think they'll be fine.
I have a lot of confidence in them. I gave them some healthy juice this morning to support their health because it's going to be hard.
And of course, like the weather in Vietnam, you know, from the north to south, it's like such different climates. So I think that'll be quite challenging for them, but they're prepared, you know, and I think they're so determined to do it. So I think they'll make it along the way.
The duo walked from the Hanoi Opera House to Cúc Phương National Park. They followed the Ho Chi Minh Trail to Nghệ An Province and Phong Nha in Quảng Bình Province. Continuing on their way, the pair walked along the coast to Đồng Hới and Huế, then over to Hải Vân Pass, to Da Nang City, Hội An City, and Tuy Hòa City of Phú Yên. After Tuy Hòa City was Đắk Lắk Province, and the final destination, Ho Chi Minh City.
So what was the biggest challenge you overcame during the journey?
I personally think the biggest challenge we had to overcome was the weather system. When we got about a week into the walk, a week and a half into the walk, we had a week to 2 weeks of rain, but we had 3 days in that period where it was that torrential Vietnamese rain where it's just driving and you know, we're walking 30 kilometres a day, you're saturated, you can't escape it. You wear as many raincoats as you want, you're going to be drenched. And everything gets wet. And then we'd get to a Nha Nhi, and everything, you can't dry anything, there's no dryers, you're cold, you're miserable, and you know that next morning you're getting back up and you're putting on those same wet clothes and you're doing the same thing again. And like I said, 3 days, so it was just, and that was an incredibly hard thing to overcome.
For me, the hardest part, again, at the first few weeks of the walk, Jake and I are both vegan, no animal products at all. There was a period of about a week where literally all we got was boiled cabbage and rice. We couldn't find tofu, we couldn't find mushrooms, there was nothing. But that was the hardest. We had to change our walking plan. We were going to walk more out to the west and down the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and after about a week of not getting enough food, really, if you're walking 11 hours a day, you need something
That's what
substantial.
you did.
That's what.
Walking
Some days we
11
would.
hours
Some
a day.
days, yeah. I mean, including breaks, we would often wake up at 4:30 on the road by 5:30. Sometimes we would still be walking at 4 in the afternoon. You know, so yeah. Sometimes we would.
Yeah, it was Nha Nhi to Nha Nhi, so if there wasn't a Nha Nhi for 40 kilometres, you had to keep walking. That was that was the only option you had. But we got through it.
The further south, because it got hotter and hotter.
Right.
So you know, if you were out at 11, it would be 37 degrees, feels like 42. So we were, by the end of the walk, we were getting up at 3 in the morning and so going to bed at 7 the night before, getting up at 3, trying to be on the road at 3:30, 4, because when it gets to 11 o'clock, you're walking in an oven, you know. So got earlier and earlier as the walk went on.
So there's some days where we could only do, you'd set yourself up, you do a 20-kilometre day, like a nice short day, which was a nice little treat because you knew that the next day you had a marathon to do. So I think there were 4 or 5 marathons during the walk and a 70-kilometre day.
Wow, 70.
Yeah.
So you had to run. Yeah. And you did that in how many hours?
It was 73 in 15 hours, door to door.
Yeah.
Into Hawaii.
Interesting to know. So after all of the challenges, what was the most rewarding thing that you had?
I think the most rewarding thing is talking to Blue Dragon and to Rod at Thang Lok Project and just hearing what the awareness and the money raised is going to do for both the charities. It's going to make a hell of a difference, and so I think that's the most rewarding thing for me, is that I think I realise that it's going to have a profound effect and create sustainable change.
So yeah, I mean, and you can quantify that. So Blue Dragon estimates that for every $1 that is raised, that will bring a trafficked woman or child, on average, 1 kilometre nearer home, which is amazing. And for Thang Lok Project, about $250 will provide a year of education for a child. And that includes transport to the school, pencils, papers, paying the teacher, clean water, food and insurance. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not an enormous amount of money, but that will provide everything for a child to get a year of education. So that's uplifting for us when you can quantify that like that and say, we actually have made a huge difference.
And that also resonates the reason why you participated in this journey. Why you did it.
Look, but also, I mean, there's a selfish side to it as well. Like for us, it was an adventure. It was a once in a lifetime, well, maybe twice in a lifetime, but it's a one-off thing, and
So that means you never did anything like this before?
No, never.
Okay.
Never. This is how many times in your life do you get the opportunity to do it? And in such a beautiful country, I think people don't realize it. Maybe if you're living in a country, you don't see it because you're used to it. But Vietnam is jaw-droppingly beautiful. This place. Now, we didn't walk in Ha Giang, but Ha Giang is incredible. Hai Van Pass, Dalat, these places are phenomenal. But like on a personal level, you learn about yourself. You discover things about yourself which are hard to articulate and again hard to quantify. But so it's not just that we did some good in the world. It's also that I think we learned about ourselves, and that's also valuable.
It was a journey, and maybe at the end of the journey, you found things about yourself that maybe you were not aware of.
What I learned is that I'm much more resilient than I thought. I mean, the days when I was like, I can't go on, I'm in an extraordinary amount of pain and it's not fun. It is possible to keep going. It is possible that what you think of as your own limits and your own boundaries aren't actual boundaries. They're not limits. They are things that you can surpass, and you can excel, and you can be better.
Instead of taking the shortest route along National Route 1, Sean and Jake explored the Ho Chi Minh Trail, aiming to interact with as many locals as possible. During the first weeks, they journeyed from Hanoi to the trail, then continue along the coastline, making stops in Hue, Da Nang, and Hoi An. Their mornings typically kicked off with a quick breakfast, grabbing an instant nutrition bar and a cup of black coffee to fuel up. Lunchtime usually rolled around at 11 or noon. By 3 or 4 p.m., they were ready to call it a day, finding accommodation at a motel they found along the way. The biggest challenge during this long hike was the weather. At the start of their journey, Sean and Jake faced cold and rainy conditions.
Me wondering when this gets difficult. I wonder.
As they progressed southward, the temperature and humidity steadily rose. Sean fell ill frequently, battling a severe pneumonia, while Jake walked in Australian-style flip-flops, enduring painful blisters and bleeding feet. After nearly 3 months of traversing rural provincial roads, Sean and Jake discovered the exceptional generosity of the Vietnamese people. Despite having little themselves, locals readily offered assistance. Along the way, Sean and Jake received food and water from locals, an invitation to share tea and dinner in people's homes. After learning about the fundraising walk, many people invited the duo to stay overnight for free. These acts of kindness serve as a powerful motivation, inspiring Sean and Jake to persevere on their remarkable journey.
What was the biggest meaning and message you want to convey through your trip?
So, okay, I would say that change is possible. It is entirely possible to address problems like this, trafficking, education, any problem that we have, poverty. The problems are not intractable. It is possible to fix these issues, but what we really need to do is like direct our efforts. So, you know, you can donate directly to those charities, or you can go out and do something, and every little thing helps. And when you, in a very real way, in a way that's kind of hard to put into words, when you help others, you help yourself. Nothing is more meaningful in life than doing something to help other people. You know, if you really, really want to feel better about yourself, you do that. We can fix problems. It's possible.
And Sean, you said that one of the reasons why you did this was because Vietnam has given you so much.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on
I think that was my quote. But
no, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that was my code. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like so I came to Vietnam and I was afforded a good job. The quality of life here compared to back home, you know, for the work I was doing was very high. The people are lovely. The food, we're vegan. The vegan food is amazing. It's a beautiful country. I got to travel around. I made some wonderful friends. It's been the experience of a lifetime, and it feels like in the 5 years I've been in Vietnam, I've accumulated a lifetime of memories. Some stuff was difficult, but a lot of it has just been phenomenal. And I know my friends back home, you know, are looking at me saying, God, after having this wonderful experience, the country is magical in a way that maybe you're not aware of if you've spent your whole life here. But coming from Europe to Vietnam, what it's done for me on every level, I'm eternally grateful.
Tell us some stories, some examples.
So there's the natural beauty, and then there's just the kindness of the people.
which we had all through the walk.
They said, oh, these two guys are doing a walk for Vietnamese children, so we will be lovely and accommodating and welcoming. They were just like that because they could see, well, these two guys are struggling. It's raining or it's hot and they're clearly suffering from the early stages of sunstroke. So they would say, come in, and they would just look after us. And it is, and I've lived in lots of countries, I've traveled the world, and it is, I think, you know, it's an unusual and valuable thing that the Vietnamese people are so accommodating and lovely and friendly. There's a warmth and a kindness that's, you know, it's really, really touching.
What's your job?
So I was an English teacher and an IELTS examiner, and yeah, I finished teaching full-time in May last year to prepare for the walk, to get in the best shape of my life, which was nowhere near the shape I needed to be for the walk. But after the walk, I'm a changed man. It's changed me, and what I want to do with my life is I want to spend it finding ways to help other individuals.
And to make an impact.
To make an impact, genuinely, yeah.
How did you help people keep track of your journey? Because we will need to know what was going on with you guys.
So we had stories and posts every single day on our Instagram and Facebook. Letting people know what was going on, where we were, what we were doing, what we were eating, who we were meeting. And
so you were the one that did all of the filming?
Yeah. I guess that, yeah.
You know, we don't expect 3 million 3 people to donate $1 million. But if we had 1 million people donate $3 or $1,
It's micro-funding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally, we're saying, you know, $2 or $3. It makes a difference. It makes a sizable, quantifiable difference in people's lives.
The Vietnam Charity Walk, a Walk for Change initiative garnered significant attention on social media platforms. Facebook and Instagram pages serve as vital channels for providing updates, sharing stories, and enabling individuals and businesses to track Jake and Sean's progress. Thousands of followers became the duo's special companions, actively interacting with their posts, sending encouraging messages, and generously contributing donations. Their support amplified Jake and Sean's mission and made their fundraising even more impactful.
So besides, doing fundraising, you also help. I mean, you visited iconic landscapes in Vietnam, and I think it's also a big part in the added value to the journey that you made. Tell us more about all of the beautiful places that you've been to.
Well, okay, so the places that pop into mind, first of all, Hue. I mean, it's not a natural place, but the Imperial, the Citadel, is jaw-dropping. I would advise anybody who comes to Vietnam to go and see it, because it's so much more grand and complex than you think it's going to be. The Hai Van Pass obviously was fantastic. Dalat is it's like a different country. You walk up and the biome is different, the trees and the landscape is different from the rest of Vietnam. Ly Son Island was jaw-dropping. The 3 extinct volcanoes. You know, it's such a diverse country in terms of its natural beauty. Too many places to pick. If I had to pick one, Dalat genuinely was phenomenal.
I think we saw some incredible places, some beautiful landscapes, all different in different provinces. But the coastline. So a lot of people, you go to Da Nang or Hoi An, or you go to these places for the coastline. But the coastline from Quy Nhon down to Nha Trang through Tuy Hoa is just outstanding. Like, we were lucky enough we had a rest day in Quy Nhon and experienced the coastline there, and that's just unbelievable. There's no rubbish. It's just beautiful white sand beaches, very undisturbed. I'm surprised there's actually not more people flocking to those places, really. And
Jake's got a lot of fantastic photos, right? Which are going to, these landscape photos will go in the photo book and hopefully entice people to come and see Vietnam for themselves.
How did you capture the beauty of people?
The beauty of people?
Yeah, it's difficult.
Just in their laughter and, just in their faces, really. They're bubbly, they're laughing.
We would sneak into homes at night quietly. They didn't know we were there, and we would just film surreptitiously, and that's the best way to capture the natural beauty.
To be fair, there was...
So how would you promote the beauty of Vietnam through your work?
Through a photo book and through the documentary. So it's going to showcase a lot of the amazing, beautiful landscapes in Vietnam and the beautiful people, the amazing generosity that we encountered. I think that's going to come through quite well in our documentary and the photo book.
And you can see it on our Facebook page and on our Instagram. You can see, and what we captured was 1% of 1% of the beauty, because you can't keep filming and stopping and taking photos the whole time. When you see people doing like woodwork or handicrafts when they're doing their job, and Jake has some phenomenal pictures of that, or the women working in the fields, or people out on the fishing boats. There's like a little snapshot of real life, and it's it's lovely.
I can't wait to see those photos. Yeah. What kind of feedback did you usually get? Did your posts usually get?
The feedback on our social posts?
Yeah.
Just a lot of words of encouragement, lots of amazing support, people saying, great work, or you can do it, or, if you need a chat. Like, people were very supportive, just wanted to make sure we were okay and wanted to just keep pushing us to the finish line, really.
Jake and Sean's trek was increasingly difficult, with every kilometer laden with challenges. however, at the genuine smiles of the children, breathtaking natural scenery, and the warmth of the Vietnamese people buoyed the spirits of the two young teachers. Together, those fueled their optimism to continue their meaningful journey, ingraining these moments of beauty and positivity into Jake and Sean's memories. For them, these are unforgettable moments and emotions that come only once in a lifetime.
What about the unforgettable memories now, if you can recall?
Yeah, I touched on the children cycling earlier, cycling up with nothing, wanting to converse in English, big grins on their faces as they cycled off, and then they'd come back 5 minutes later when you're 5 minutes down the road, and they'd with gifts of water or snacks, and we had this countless times as well with children. Or on Leeson Island, we got to Leeson Island, and both obviously were vegan, and so we started chatting to all the kids. They wanted their photo taken. You know, they came running up asking for their photo to be taken, and I'd put the camera away. They got it out, took their photo. They were so excited. And then they asked what we were doing and what we needed, and we said we're looking for some vegan food, so com chai, and they said, "Oh, follow us." And they were so enthusiastic, and this big group, about 10, wasn't it? 10 young girls, and they dragged us along to this nunnery. So, and we got there, this pagoda, and then the nuns invited us in and cooked us this lovely vegan meal. They didn't have to do it. They just, out of the kindness of their heart, they fed us, they watered us, and then, yeah, it was an incredible moment. It brought a tear to both of our eyes, I think.
Those moments.
It's the community support, you know, so there's obviously a lot of Westerners living in Vietnam, and the community support, whether it be in Quy Nhon from Docker Hitchens, or whether it was Peter Vidotto at Nha Trang, or it was Nathan and Eddie at Vietnam Backpackers in Hue. It was just everywhere we went, whether it was Vietnamese or a foreigner, the support was just outstanding. It was humbling. It was very humbling, and just unbelievable. This is making me a bit emotional right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad that you had that experience. Yeah. So looking back at the whole journey, what made you most proud of?
I think this one's a little bit left field. I'm actually I'm most proud of this fella here. Like in terms of, you know, overcoming obstacles. He's 44. His ankle's stuffed. His ankles, his ankles not in a good way. He's got arthritis. He's got 12 pins and 2 plates. You know, and it didn't look like the first couple of weeks. I thought, geez, I might be doing it alone. That was a thing that I had in the back of my head, because he was in all sorts of trouble, and I'm pretty proud.
Did you lose any weight?
I lost about 12 kilos, 107 kilos when we started, so you can see the before and after pic. Although, since I've come back to Hanoi, I'm hitting the Bia Hois. I'm really trying to put that weight back on as quickly as possible.
But I think also, on the whole scale, I'm just extremely proud of of how many people have donated. I'm really proud that we were able to, create a community that sort of got behind us, rallied behind us, and rallied behind the charities and donated.
What about you, Sean? Did you feel fulfilled? Do you feel fulfilled?
Yeah, it was much harder than I thought it was going to be. Like, I knew it was going to be hard, but it was much, much harder. And what's surprising about it is the way that in your memory, time, accordions, it's both the longest thing I've ever done, and it feels very, very long. And then in another way, it feels very short. It's like that, it's over. You know, and it's hard to kind of compartmentalize, you know, where to put that in my mind. I think it'll be much further down the line when I have a clear idea of what it means to me. But yeah, it's very surprising and rewarding and kind of addictive. Like, I want to do it again.
It's the best thing I think we've both ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. Friend of ours, he's a photographer, just a really wonderful, sweet guy. I met him in Ireland many years ago. And he'd been living in Vietnam beforehand. he came back to Ireland to get his life together, you know, time to get serious and raise a family. And he was there about 3 months, and he was like, I can't live here, I want to go back to Vietnam. So I didn't know him very well, but he said, I think you suit Vietnam. I think you'd have a great time. Why don't you come with me? And I said, okay. I don't have a big plan. I don't think about the future too much. An opportunity presented itself. Vietnam. Yeah, I could do that. I could go for 6 months. And 5 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
After more than 3 months of walking southward, overcoming the difficulties of a 2,000-kilometer walk, Jake Norris and Sean Down's finish line was Ho Chi Minh City on February 24, 2024. The incredible duo ended their journey in a burst of joy and congratulations from friends and walking enthusiasts.
Pretty happy with what we've done. Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed. It's not real. It hasn't.
Thực ra trong suốt quá trình hành trình của Jake và Sean thì tôi được chứng kiến ngày đầu tiên khi hai bạn khởi hành từ chính trung tâm Blue Dragon ở Hà Nội, và sau đó thì ra nhà hát lớn và bắt đầu hành trình đi bộ dọc đất nước để vào đến Hồ Chí Minh. Thì tôi cũng chứng kiến hành trình của anh ý qua Facebook, qua các kênh truyền thông của hai bạn. Cái điều mà tôi thực sự khâm phục các bạn ấy, bởi vì là với Jake thì bạn ấy là một vận động viên chơi thể thao. Trước khi hành trình đấy bạn đã bị chấn thương đầu gối. Tuy nhiên với Sean thì bạn ấy không phải là một vận động viên, bạn ấy cũng chưa từng bao giờ tham gia những cái thử thách lớn như thế này. Nhưng hai bạn ấy trong suốt gần 3 tháng qua thì hai bạn ấy đã vượt qua rất là nhiều những cái thách thức khó khăn, những cái lần mưa to gió lớn, rồi những lần mà đói khát, những cái lần mà có thể là quá mệt mỏi. Bạn ấy có một cái tinh thần, đó là tinh thần không từ bỏ, vì một cái cam kết rất là lớn với cái thử thách này, và mong muốn là làm thế nào đó để mình hoàn thành, để mình có thể giúp đỡ cho trẻ em Việt Nam tốt hơn.
They walked 30 kilometres every day, and they walked very fast, and we had a big backpack on our back, so it was really, really hard for me for 3 days. We really appreciate what they've been able to do, and because the money they raise is going to make a significant difference to a lot of young Vietnamese kids. Not only have they raised awareness, they've inspired me even. They've inspired a lot of people.
During the 3 months of navigating challenging terrain and shouldering heavy loads, Jake and Shauna persevered on their remarkable journey, traversing 20 provinces and cities. In return, they have successfully raised $40,000 to donate to disadvantaged children in Vietnam.
So what about Vietnam that kept you staying?
Everything, the people, the experiences, the food. It's kind of hard to put into words. In some ways, I think I've much more freedom in Vietnam than I have at home. Like in Ireland at the moment, things are very, very tough, and people are running to stand still when it comes to work and, you know, renting, and life is just very, very difficult. But over here, I know life is very difficult for some people, but there's a general sense of, I don't know how to say it. People are enjoying their lives. They came over, I got a great life, and that's why I did the walk again, to give something back, you know.
Right. What about you, Jake?
I came here with my girlfriend, and we were originally going to work in China, actually, and that sort of fell through. And we came to Vietnam for 1 year to teach, and again we've been 7 years here. So it was never meant to be this long. It was supposed to be a fleeting trip, and it just became home. Like Sean was saying, it's the people, the kindness and generosity, the sweetness of people in Vietnam, the landscapes and the freedom,
and the food.
And the food's incredible, yeah. But I love nothing more than jumping on my motorbike, and going up into the mountains of the north of Vietnam and just staying in a homestay, sitting there with the locals, with my limited Vietnamese, and just laughing and chatting with them, drinking Zio, and it's incredible. It's like it's something that was never planned. It's just lucky enough to be here and experience such a beautiful country. Really,
There's a magic to it. There's a magic to the place.
Yeah, you go, you leave, and you leave for a short time, and you're drawn back. There's a pull I can't explain, but it's once Vietnam gets its claws in you, it's so hard to leave. It's so hard.
Okay. So after this charity walk, what will be next?
So we're already planning our next big charity event. So that should be early next year, probably in Europe for some charities. That's still to be determined. But we want to. Like we were saying before, we both feel like this is a bit of a calling, and we think that life's short. Why not do something? If you've got the means to do it, if you've got the freedom to do it, why not do something that can create a little bit of change for others that are in need?
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavor.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's the journey, not the destination. Our two guests today reached their destination and fulfilled their goal for the journey of raising money to help children in need. And I hope that they found meanings in their acts. And as Sean said, anybody can do something to make changes and make life a little bit easier and better. I hope that this message resonates to all of you out there, and hopefully it will inspire you to do something to create change. That is also the end of our Talk Vietnam episode. Thank you very much, and see you again next time.
Xin chào Việt Nam!